welcome back to another MaizePlus video. We're going to have a look at the update to the animal food additions that took it to version 1.3 and the effect of the changes to the inputs and outputs for pigs today. So as part of the update to version 1.3, all of the animals except cows had their input and output values adjusted, and I'm going to work through them in detail to see how it affects the profitability. I have done this as quite a quick analysis based on some stuff I've done for previous videos where I actually went a lot more in depth and collected a bunch of data playing the game. I've used that data, and I'll leave a link for the video below where I did that and then adjusted it and done some stuff in Excel to come up with some approximations for how things have changed. So the values might not be exact, but they'll give you an idea of what's changed and how it's changed. So how have the numbers changed? First, these are exact numbers. So we've got base game, previous animal food additions, new animal food additions. So from a food point of view, the old animal food additions massively increased the food consumption of pigs. That's been wound back now. So it's about half once you've got adult pigs. Piglets eat a little bit more, but once you've got adult pigs, it's about half. That is kind of compensated by the fact that they will use quite a bit more water, and we'll talk about that later on. And also they do use quite a bit more straw. In the quick analysis I've done here, I haven't really accounted for the cost and use of straw because quite often that's a byproduct of you just doing farming. So if you're worried about that, you might want to account for it, but they do use about 3 times as much straw, maybe 3.5, maybe 3.6 if you're really worried. This is just to give you a feel for how the numbers have changed. So about, once you've got adult pigs, about half the amount of food, about double the amount of water. In terms of outputs, so previously base game and animal food additions were the same for manure and slurry, and now with the updated animal food additions, that's increased quite significantly, particularly once your pigs are a year old. You've got a massive increase, and that's going to be really important later on when we're looking about making pigs profitable. It's worth mentioning and reminding people, and I'll try and remember to link to another video, that even in base game, pigs are not profitable versus just selling the crops you might grow to feed them unless you do other things. So that is something to bear in mind when you look at the results here. So some assumptions for what I've done. Food costs are based on using the farm supply pack and buying CCM bales from MaizePlus. Why have I done that? It's because the farm supply pack allows you to buy food quite cheaply, significantly cheaper than the value of selling the crops, because they are, in my mind, feed grade crops. If you're growing the crops, I think you need to account for the fact that you could make more money selling those crops and maybe buying crops from the farm supply pack. I've assumed that you're not using the enhanced animal system. This does change the value and the number of piglets that you will get. I think it's a 25% reduction in the value of the piglets. Last time I looked, I have not double checked that, but you do get more piglets, and I'll mention later on just how many more you get. You will make more money if you run enhanced animal system, because one of the ways that you make money with pigs is selling the piglets. Let's have a look at the cost of the food. With the old animal food additions, you were looking for a pig that was 6 months or older. You're looking at spending about £105 a month on food and about £1.50 a month on water. So if you have automatic watering turned on, there is a cost associated with that. I've just assumed it's the equivalent of buying water from a buy point. Again, that will come in to be relevant later on. And with the new animal food additions, see the food cost has reduced significantly, only £55 a month ish, whereas the water cost is now about £20 a month. So you end up with about £75 a month cost for keeping your pig. Output wise, you'll see these numbers are quite small. And that's one of the reasons that even with base game, making money from pigs was really difficult, because the manure and slurry you produce, if you just sell it, is not worth very much. So with the old one, it's worth about £7. With the new one, for a 6-month-old pig, it's worth about £9. Once they're 12-month-old, it's worth about £18. So obviously you're not going to make money just by selling the manure and the slurry. One thing you can do is use a BGA. So again, in a previous video, and I'll try and remember to link that below as well, I looked at the value of putting 1,000 litres of manure through a BGA. Manure and slurry going through a BGA behave the same, and that takes that from £67 per 1,000 litres up to £511 per 1,000 litres. And now we start to get profitable. So with the outputs from the old animal food additions, you could be making about £50 a month putting your outputs through a BGA. With the new one, you're looking at nearly 70, and then once you've got adult pigs, nearly 140. So if I just jump back, with the old animal food additions, you still wouldn't be making money because you were spending almost double. But with the new one, once you've got adult animals, in fact, even with your 6-month-old animals, putting the output through a BGA, you're profitable. And once you're into 12-month-old ones, you're making money every month selling the manure through the BGA, even if you're buying the food. That excludes the piglets. Let's have a look at piglets. So I've got two graphs here. One, if you are giving them food and paying for water. And I've done one excluding the cost of water because there are options. If you've got a pen where you have to deliver water, there are options for getting free water, and water is a significant cost input for the new animal food additions numbers. So I've done both. So you'll see that with the old animal food additions, it was cheaper to keep a piglet initially. But with the new one, if you exclude the cost of water, actually it gets cheaper the longer you keep the piglet with the new one. So what does that really mean? Because that's what you're interested in. How much money will you make from your piglets? With the previous animal food additions, and this graph was very similar actually to base game, you're better to sell them quite early. So 1-2 months in is when you're going to get your best money from piglets with the old animal food additions. With the new one, you probably want to hang on to them, but it depends. If you're paying for water, same sort of thing, you want to sell them at 1 to 2 months, and you're only going to be making about £75 per piglet. But you will be making money with, doing something with the manure and the slurry, whether that's a BGA, whether that's the homebrew productions that I did a video on last week, where you're making slurry or fertilizer and things like that from it. If you've got a pen where you can put free water in, so something you deliver water to and you're getting that water from a free water source, then you actually want to hang on to them for 3 to 4 months, and then you'll make quite a bit more. So yeah, let's just have a bit of a wrap up. So just as I said before, as with base game, making money with pigs is difficult, and I will link my video below that I did a couple of videos before MaizePlus came out on making money with pigs, and you have to do different things to make money with pigs with base game. So things like use a BGA, use another production. There are a few other things you can do as well. They don't work so well if you're using enhanced animal system, but we'll come on to that. But yeah, you need to do something to make them profitable. With the new numbers in the new animal food additions, if you're paying for the water, so if you've got them in a shed with automated watering, or if you're buying water to water them, then you want to sell them actually a little bit earlier than the 4 months. You want to sell them at the 1 to 2 month point. If you are using a free water source, then you hang on to them for about 4 months and then sell them on. If you are using enhanced animal system, so you're going to get a bit less for your piglets. I think it reduces the value by about 25%, but you get on average 10 piglets per litre. So if we go back to this graph, you could be looking at making 700 to over £1,000 profit per litre, and that's every 5 months per pig. So, you can make decent money. That's on top of what you're putting through the BGA and all that kind of stuff. So I know people had some negative reactions to some of the information about how profitable some animals are with MaizePlus, particularly with the animal food additions, and this improves things. Compared to base game, I think it's probably better because of how much more manure you get out of pigs now, manure and slurry. And particularly if you use the enhanced animal system, even better because you get a lot of piglets, and really piglets are where you make money with pigs in farm sim. Yeah. So I'm actually putting together a little mini series on running a pig farm with MaizePlus, Animal Food Additions, and Enhanced Animal System. So we'll see how that goes once I actually get that done. If you've got any comments, questions, or suggestions on this video, stick them below. I said all the numbers are quite approximate. That meant I could put this video together in a few hours rather than a few days and get some information out to folks. So yeah, see ya.